Present.
Great, thank you. Okay. Welcome, everybody. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock. Thank you to our committee members for being here this evening. To our members of the public, wherever you may be. I know some are watching us on YouTube, and also to staff. So the first order of business is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve, please? Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by, looks like Janet Janes, but anyway, Councillor Hutchison. Janet, did you have something to say?
I just wanted to remind you, Madam Chair, that there is an addendum, so we should include the addendum as part of the approval of the agenda.
Exactly. Okay, great. So yeah, hopefully folks have had a chance to look at that.
I didn't see the addendum.
It's in the, we just got it about an hour ago, Simon. I'm just pulling that up now. And I believe, Janet, you can speak to this perhaps, but.
Yes, the addendum was circulated late in the day. It includes a piece of correspondence to confirm the member from the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. So it's not an additional application for consideration. It's an affirmation of that member that was appointed by the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte.
Excellent. So then we can add that to the agenda and then make sure that we have the two confirmed this evening or affirmed with this addendum. Excellent. Okay. Everybody clear on that?
Do we have any background on any of these candidates, just their names?
For the members that were added from the territories, Simon? Or sorry,
the first people's, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a letter in the package, and then Janet, did you have anything else to add with the?
Staff from Cultural Services are here tonight. They will be providing you with a briefing, and that will go over the process that was used to appoint the self-identified Indigenous community members. And the members from Alderville First Nations and Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte were an appointment that was made by those individual groups. So these names are here for affirmation by the committee, but they were considered by the Indigenous community at Alderville and the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte respectively, and those names put forward in that fashion. And so the committee will be considering the non-Indigenous appointments that are in your schedule page package tonight.
Right, so the work that we're doing hasn't changed essentially. Okay, so all right, so then with that overview, we will get to the briefing in a moment, which will help with some of this, but I'll ask then for a motion to approve the agenda with the addeds. And so Councillor Neal, are you still okay with that? Okay. And Councillor Hutchison originally seconded. Is that good? Great. Thank you. Any questions, further discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, I will call the vote. Any dissenting votes? Is that? No, we do it all in favor here, right? Sorry. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thanks very much. And okay, next we will confirm the minutes from our December 9th meeting.
Do we have to?
Yeah. So the resolution is that the minutes from our nominations advisory committee December 9th be approved. Have a mover, please. Councillor Hutchison, thank you. A seconder, Councillor Kiley, thanks. And any omissions? Discussion, great. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Is that an opposition?
No, I didn't raise my hand fast enough.
Okay, great. So that carries. Thank you. So then next, we'll move to disclosure of pecuniary interest. Any disclosure? Anyone have anything to disclose? Great. Seeing none, we'll continue. So we have no delegations. We do have one briefing this evening from Jennifer Campbell, who's our manager of cultural heritage, and she's here to speak to the committee regarding the recruitment process for the Sir John A. Mcdonald History and Legacy in Kingston Working Group and the selection of the local Indigenous community representatives. I see Jennifer is ready to go, so away you go, Jennifer. Miss Campbell.
Thank you.
Jennifer is fine. Thank you all. I'm happy to be here tonight. We just thought it would be appropriate to offer the committee just a quick review of how the packages come to be before you this evening. So next slide, please. The terms of reference, councillors will remember that staff worked with First Peoples Group, the clerk's office, and legal services to develop terms of reference for the working group, which included criteria around membership. And this working group terms of reference was approved by council in October of 2020. The working group, as approved by council, includes representation from Alderville First Nation, the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, Indigenous members from Kingston, or the Kingston area community, and community members more broadly defined. In total, of course, the working group then has 8 members. Next slide. A bit of a dense one here, but just wanted to review quickly the mandate and scope. So the committee, or the working group, excuse me, is being given the mandate and scope to develop interpretive text to tell a more complete and inclusive history specific to Kingston and related to Sir John A. Mcdonald. This is expected or anticipated to include interpretive text or plaques for installation adjacent to local landmarks managed by the City of Kingston and related to Sir John A. Mcdonald that add and balance the ways that local history is written, interpreted, and shared. The working group will also be asked to develop guiding principles that will be then referenced once council has approved them by staff in the development of future content as part of the ongoing interpretation of local history. The working group includes in its scope or mandate to represent a diversity of perspectives and to work to build consensus on the agreements of the working group, to consider feedback received as part of the projects Engage for Change, as well as Your Stories, Our Histories, and other city initiatives that have happened through time. And also that the mandate will include to report finally to council no later than December 31st of 2021. Next slide. So just a quick refresher on the composition of the working group then. So one member of Alderville First Nation has been selected by chief and members of council of Alderville First Nation. And this representative is being brought forward this evening to the Nominations Advisory Committee for affirmation. And then we'll move through this committee, of course, to council for final appointment. Next slide. Very similar process. The Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte were asked if they would like to provide a representative, and the chief and members of Tyendinaga Mohawk Council have brought forward a member through for affirmation through this nominations committee, and then on to appointment by council. Local Indigenous community members, there are 3 seats, if you will, that were recruited from Indigenous community members, and this was a recruitment through intended as approved in the terms of reference through an open nominations process, and then selected by Indigenous residents through a culturally supported selection process facilitated by First Peoples Group. And 3 members are being brought forward to the committee this evening and then on for appointment by council. Next slide. Apologize if the text is a bit small here, but just a little bit more information in addition to what you saw in your addendum or in the letter that was provided by First Peoples Group to the process. The process included a call for expressions of interest, and this call was shared through community emails to past engagement participants, but also through emails to community organizations and a post, or a series of posts actually, to Kingston Aboriginal Community Information Network, which is the primary communication tool used by Indigenous community members in organizing and sharing events, initiatives, etc. The nominations for applications were then submitted. These could be submitted either in written or oral form and transcribed and approved then by the submitter. 3 applications were actually received in total, and we had 3 spaces available for membership. A community affirmation meeting then was held and again shared over KSIN to invite people to attend this meeting. As there were 3 members that came forward, or 3 community members who came forward, the discussion focused on introducing these members and a discussion of the role of those members and how they would commit to representing community moving forward. The names of the selected Indigenous members have now been provided and are before you to this committee for affirmation, and then to move on as the other names have for confirmation and appointment by council. Next slide. Before the nominations committee tonight are also the call for 3 members from the Kingston community, more broadly defined. And these are 3 members that with an interest in this language comes again from the terms of reference approved by council on October 20th, 2020. But with an interest to build inclusive history, an understanding of their shared responsibility of reconciliation, a commitment to fostering equity, diversity, and inclusion in the histories and stories that Kingston shares as a community. Dissimilar to the other affirmed processes or ahead of this committee tonight, these 3 members will be appointed through the nominations process, which is more familiar, where this involved public notice and now review and selection by members by the Nominations Advisory Committee, and then again with final appointment by City Council. Next slide. And we thought it appropriate just again to share with the committee this evening as you make your decisions about what staff's role and First Peoples Group's role is in supporting this working group moving forward. So meeting support and facilitation will be provided by First Peoples Group, and staff in the Cultural Services Department will be providing administrative support, meeting coordination, agenda circulation, minutes, and advising on any of the strategic documents that Council has approved and are enacted currently by the City of Kingston. The working group can also request, as agreed in its terms of reference, outside technical and advisory support as needed to fulfill its mandate. And I thought it also important to remind the committee that the terms of reference did also note, and the associated report to the terms of reference also noted that working group meetings, as all meetings of the City of Kingston, are open to the public. And the information about these meetings, dates and times, and how to join them, as we expect they will be virtual, will be shared on the City of Kingston events calendar. So that's all. We just wanted to provide you a bit of an update this evening. Thank you all.
Thanks very much, Ms. Campbell. Okay, so we'll go to questions from council, from the committee. I see Councillor Chapelle. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, your chairship. My question is with respect, only 3 in total, but we don't have the addresses for these individuals like we do for the other members. Can you confirm that all 3 of them are residents of Kingston?
Thank you. I can confirm that 2 of the 3 that have been brought forward are active residents of Kingston. One is a student at Queen's University, and when we received that application and First Group brought it forward, we did have a discussion with the Clerk's Department about the usual process by which Indigenous community representatives are selected for city committees. And in conversation with the Clerk's Department, it's our understanding that with Indigenous citizens, due to the difficulties of and the colonial nature of asking for residency in Kingston when someone is in what we might consider a territorial relationship or a catchment area of Kingston, that it was the advice we received from the Clerk's Department is that it was still a viable application given that consideration. And so that 3rd member of the community was brought forward through the process.
Councillor Chapelle.
Well, I'm just concerned with that because we had a great debate 2 meetings prior to this one where we had to confirm the address of the person because our bylaws don't account for Indigenous applicants for appointment. They have to be a resident of the City of Kingston. Now, if she's attending school, she is certainly a resident during the school year. But is she in fact resided, like today, is she in Kingston or whoever it is? I don't know which one it is, but I just don't want to be breaking the bylaw that we have set in place. That's all.
Okay, we're going to go to Ms. Janes. Go ahead. Oh, you're on mute.
Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of supplement what Jennifer had indicated. I mean, our recruitment for Indigenous representation routinely requests representatives from outside of the Kingston area.
Okay.
So because recognizing that Indigenous representation in Kingston historically, that, you know, has been far more wide-reaching now than maybe it was historically. So there may be a historical tie here, but not an existing in this moment residency. So there is that tie-in, and part of our recruitment is to routinely reach out to a number of Indigenous groups and government associations that are outside of Kingston. So it is our practice with the Indigenous representation to routinely request and accept representation outside of a physical residency inside of city limits, if that helps, Councillor.
Madam Clerk, thank you very much. That does offer some clarity and some understanding, and I appreciate it. I'm good with that.
Thank you. Next, I have Councillor Kiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I was wondering about the meeting that was held. I think it said in the first slide about the community engagement, there was a meeting. Can you explain a bit more about that? Who attended? What was covered? I think that's actually intriguing to me, both for this project particularly, and also thinking about how we as a committee or as the city relate to potential applicants for these committees. So, Ms. Campbell, could you explain that a bit further, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you, and through you. Yes, so originally the intention was if there were more than 3 applications received, First Peoples Group intended to have a circle style affirmation of meeting where essentially the community members would be asked to come together and build consensus around their 3 selected representatives. When only 3 applicants were received, it was decided in consultation with those applicants that a good way forward would be to have an open meeting where anyone in the community that was interested in connecting with those individuals could come and hear why it was they felt that they would like to represent on this committee, but also an opportunity then to discuss how those representatives wanted to move forward in connecting with other community members, other Indigenous community members in particular. So would they have opportunity to speak with various organizations and councils that they themselves are members of? And how could they then be ensuring that they're sharing information in both directions and really are acting as best they can as representatives of a group? And so that was the style of the meeting, and the decision at the end of the meeting was that depending on once the entire committee was struck and once the work plan was established, that there might be opportunity then for those reps to connect back again through a meeting they themselves would organize that would be adjacent but not actually part of the city managed committee process or working group process.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. And I just want to go on record saying that it's a really deep approach to democracy in my view. And it brings in more and more voices to this, and has committee members, or those that we will affirm tonight, committee members, accountable to their community. I think it's a really beautiful thing, actually, and I'm glad to hear that that was recommended and that it took place, and it seems like it went well. So thanks for explaining that.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, so no one, so I'll go back to you, Simon, or Cheapers. Why can't I say the actual proper name? Go ahead, Councillor Chappelle.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I appreciate the opportunity to ask this question. I know that there was a dual process by attracting applications through the First Peoples Group, but also people applied through the clerk's office. If they came through the clerk's office and self-identified as Indigenous, were those names put forward to sent over to the First Peoples Group in case they were not aware of that communication process for selection? And if so, how many applicants on our list today that we're looking at from a public member are deemed to be self-identified as Indigenous?
I'm just looking over at staff, and it looks like Ms. Janes has the response there. Go ahead.
Councillor Chappelle, yes, if somebody had tried to apply or had in fact applied or reached out to the clerk's office in any way with regards to that, they would have been referred to the self-identified Indigenous community member process that was facilitated by the First Peoples Group. So the package that you have before you is people who have not self-identified as Indigenous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Any other, oh, sorry, Councillor Carly, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, but just to jump in there, I thought in reading the package, which I did this afternoon, there was at least one individual who identified as Indigenous within it.
Ms. Campbell?
Thank you. I would just add to what Janet has shared. If someone chose to pursue the stream of and is an Indigenous, is a community resident and wanted to pursue their nomination by choice through the open nominations call and not through the Indigenous call, that is an open process to them, as that is part of the nominations process of the City of Kingston. So Janet or the clerks can certainly correct me on that if my understanding of that is wrong, but it was my understanding that if someone chose to put themselves forward as part of the collective group of general, if we will, nominees, then that is a process of their decision making. I would also add that as part of the sharing or the call for people to participate, the public release of this information, the news release also did include all three categories of membership, be they nation appointment, be they Indigenous community member, or representative selection, I should say, as opposed to appointment. And so we did see that we had all three recognized, again, trying to ensure that people had as many understandings of the paths to the committee as it was possible for them to choose amongst.
That's great. Thank you for clarifying that. I just wanted to make sure we didn't overlook that at least one applicant in their package identified as Indigenous. So if we didn't and those avenues were there, thanks. That's good.
Great, thank you. Okay, so seeing no other questions, we will continue on. Thanks very much for the briefing, Ms. Campbell. And okay, so we'll just move then to our business item, which is consideration of non-Indigenous applications submitted for Sir John A. Mcdonald History and Legacy in Kingston Working Group appointment. And as was mentioned, there will be 3 appointments. You have the information in your package, submitted, all the applications submitted. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a rundown again for everyone's benefit to make sure that we're starting out fully understanding the process as it is at this moment. I'm sure everyone here knows, and for anyone at home, that the nominations process may change in the future, but at the moment we're since there's a review and recommendations coming on the process, but for now we're continuing on. The best route seems to be consistent with the way things had been in the past. So we spent a fair bit of time in our last meeting going over what that was. And so I just wanted to lay it out there right off the bat so that we are all okay and in agreement of that before we get started. So we have a list of 22 applicants this evening. What has happened in the past and what I am proposing for this evening is that we will have an initial discussion where we open up the floor and members of the committee can make comments, recommendations for any particular member or applicant. We'll go to a vote once everyone's had a chance to make their remarks, and we will do the vote where we have, there are 3 members of the committee, so we will each have 3 votes. We'll go through the initial list of 22 and we'll use up our 3 votes going along. And Ms. Janes, jump in at any point if this is not sounding correct. Then the individuals with the most votes so we will have a list at the end of that where we'll have some with 0 perhaps, we'll have some with 6, meaning all 6 members of the committee were in favor, and then there'll be some in the middle. So the individuals at the bottom of the list with 0 will drop off. Then we will we'll look and see if there are people who have 6, and then or let's say one person who has 6, they can be affirmed. Then we move to the next round where we will again speak to the list, then proceed to a vote, and each time choosing, of course, if we've already affirmed one, we have 1, then we're down to 2 votes for the remainder of the list, and then carrying on from there. In the event of a tie, which would happen later in the process, because anyone who gets any votes in their first few rounds will continue on in the list. We're not going to eliminate anyone other than people who have essentially 0 votes in this early stage. Does that make sense for now? I don't want to go too deep into it, but I'm just trying to kind of reiterate what we discussed in the last meeting. Sounds okay? All right. Ms. Janes, did I miss anything there?
No, you didn't miss anything procedurally, Madam Chair. I just wanted to let you know that we do have one member of the public here, so we should make sure that we give them an opportunity to address the process or the applicant's consideration.
So, because we didn't do that in the past. So is that at each stage when we have our discussion, we'll do it as a normal committee where we have committee members and then members of the public?
Yeah, typically we haven't had members of the public here who were wanting to participate. They were wanting to observe without having spoken to the member of the public tonight. I'm not sure whether they have any comments they wish to provide, but we want to make sure that we give them that opportunity.
Great. Okay. Yep. So I will try to keep that and look to you to help me with that as we move along. So we'll just start then with the very introductory discussion about the 22 applicants we've seen. If any, I'll open it up and individual members of the committee can speak to who they would like to see in the 3 spots. Who would like to go first? Councillor Neal?
Yes, thank you. This was really, really tough because there are a lot of very qualified applicants here. I'm a cinemaphile, so I used a 1, 2, 3, and 4 star system. And there were 2 that definitely struck me as being very highly qualified with a really interesting background. And the one was Tanya Godzinski, who is a recently retired RMC history prof, and she has numerous publications and some really interesting background in the War of 1812, but also in Indigenous studies. So she was a really strong candidate. And John Rose, who's a Queen's prof and had equally interesting background and a particular interest in First Nations. So,
sorry, Councillor Neal, before you continue, the application was from a John Rose who's actually just completed a PhD.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing out of the gates, but it's someone different than who you're thinking.
Oh, I based this on the application.
Excellent.
So the information that I'm doing, yeah, I thought it was a different. I know John Rose, and I figured it was a different one we were talking about. So I appreciate that. And then I had a whole lot of people with equal 3 stars. So I'm going to listen to other people and be convinced if one of them comes forward. As I said, it's a really difficult choice this time around. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Councillor Kiley?
Thank you, Councillor Holland, through you. I'm going to echo Councillor Neal, actually. I read these applications over this afternoon, and I had 8 people that I thought would be amazing, and I wish we could expand the committee, but I know we can't for a number of good reasons. So I'll tell you my top 2, I think, and then maybe, again, like Councillor Neal, I'll just wait on my last choice to kind of see if there are maybe an emerging consensus. So my top 2 were Tanya Grizzinski as well. So RMC, Councillor Neal spoke to that. Also, particularly, she had some work, I think in 2012, 2013, 2014, in that time with Historica. So taking fairly interesting moments in Canadian history and really distilling their essence to minute clips. And I thought that's in a way kind of exactly what we're hoping to do here if we're looking for text for a plaque, taking varying views. I think she might have even mentioned her love of historiography. Maybe I'm mixing that up, but knowing that there are multiple perspectives and being able to distill that. So I thought for sure she'd be on my list. My second choice was Mary Ferrar, given her very deep and intimate knowledge of the local Indigenous community. So while there were many strong Indigenous related applications, I thought many of them were academic, but Mary has a very applied knowledge in the best way possible. So I thought that made her a strong candidate. And then, as I said, I have 6 others who I'd be happy with. So I'll see if there's an emerging consensus, and I probably can go along and support if there is on that list of my remaining 6. And I would say, just for the John Rose that it is, I went to Trent with him. I think he was a master's student when I was doing my undergrad there. Very, very good guy. I didn't know that his research was on 19th century institutions and the relationship to Indigenous people. So he's definitely on my list as well.
Great, thank you. Councillor Chappell?
I'm sorry, Councillor Kiley, I got distracted. I didn't catch the name of the last person.
So this is where it's challenging. I would like to say I'm nominating John Rose, but at this time he's on my remaining 6 for my 3rd place. But my top 2 were Professor Grizzinski and Mary Ferrar.
Okay, does anyone else want to speak in favor of any applicants at this point? Councillor Hutchison, okay. Yeah, I'm not unmuting people. I don't know how to do that. I think you have to do it yourself.
No, but the host does.
Yeah, they usually, I know. Sorry.
Yeah, I just confirmed that John Rose is a PhD. As you said earlier, it's in the his application. So I found that there were more people than we've got places for as well. I thought that would be good. My way of thinking is I looked at the job description given, okay, the things that they have to do, which is pretty extensive. There's a lot of work to do there. And historiography is part of it. And we have to come up with the members who sort of balance out the non-Indigenous population as well in some way, I would think. So I'm going to name 3 people, but I'm only going to choose one of them, okay? I just wanted to give my reasoning for that, is there are 3 really well qualified people here who are involved in Indigenous research at Queen's. And one is number 3, Heather Castleton. Number 11 is Elizabeth Nelson, and 16 is John Rose, who's already been mentioned. And of those 3, given the job that we have to do, that they have to do, which indicates knowledge of Indigenous studies and so on, I think Elizabeth Nelson stands out. Not only because she does Indigenous studies, but she also does municipal research in the way it interacts with Indigenous people. Now, that seems to be exactly what we're doing, okay? And she has read and studied the pertinent municipal documents already. She's the only applicant that can say that, based on what they submitted at least, okay? So Elizabeth Nelson, my first one. The second one was, okay, in my mind, we have to show some balance here. And so I looked at number 4, Vincent Durant, who's done a considerable amount of Sir John A. Mcdonald research and is on or president of the Historical Society. And I thought, yeah, we need that. I mean, he can speak to the historiography part of it, but also there's numbers of claims going about we know Sir John A. Macdonald, it's regrettable and not good things, okay? But there are other claims that are in dispute at times. So we need somebody who really knows that and can say, yes, that did unfortunately happen, and no, that didn't happen. So I think that's important to this process. And finally, I thought this was a chance for the city to perhaps some integration with the federal government through number 22, Tamara Van Dijk. And because she works for Parks Canada Bellevue Houses, which was for John and Mcdonald work, and they're already in the process of changing their messaging and their communications. And that could be a bit edgy maybe, but I thought, what an opportunity it could be as well, okay? And so there's that. And then I noted Mary Ferrar and a fellow named Glenn Perry, who has an MA in which involves social justice principles, and he's part of the military. So I think you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to balance things, but you know, I recognize the arguments that were previously given as well, and they were good as well. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Oh, Councillor Stanek, go ahead.
Great, thank you, Madam, through you, Madam Chair. So yes, I also had Tanya Grizzinski down because of her extensive knowledge before Sir John A's time. He'd be really knowledgeable as to like Canadiana, you know, like how Canada formed, how they worked with like the Brants, you know, back in, you know, in the early 1800s. And I think that perspective would be really good. And of course, her resume, we all saw her resume was like 12 pages. She's had so many studies published, so many papers published. So she was definitely on my top list. And also Mary Ferrar. And it's not that Mary has a PhD in Canadiana at all, but I want this committee to work together, right? To be balanced, to get along and to be respectful of all different sides. And we've seen Mary, I've worked with her. I know that you've worked with her. So from my personal experience, Mary is the type of person for this committee. And like what Councillor Kiley said, her current involvement with the Indigenous perspectives, right? The canoe they just had, you know, like Mary is just so involved with the city for the last 10 years. So I think she'd be a really good person. I can understand Councillor Hutchinson's perspective on Vincent Durant for the Kingston Historical Society. I think that would, that he would be a good addition, as well as Tamara and knowledge of Sir John A. If we want this committee to be balanced, you know, we have the two different First Nations, and they both have picked their chiefs to be on here. We have 3 Indigenous members on the committee. And so I think either Tamara or Vincent, they would provide the perspective from Sir John A on this committee. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? Back to the main list. Go ahead, Councillor Spell.
I was trying to find the mute button. There's got to be a trick to this. Through you, Madam Chair, I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I like Douglas Perkins. Douglas Perkins is a consultant. He'll be able to bring some structure to the meetings, maybe bring forward some opportunity to discuss how to structure the committee work and make it flow. He's got a lot of experience working in gold mines across the world, and in that doing so, he had to work, did a lot of work with the local Indigenous communities. Longtime resident of Kingston, he's retired, lost touch, and I thought he definitely submitted his resume in addition to the blurb, and so I thought that was very helpful. I also like Mary Ferrar. She had that great event at Inner Harbor this summer with building a birch bark canoe with the Indigenous community involved. And that was quite a celebration, even though it was COVID. It's unfortunate couldn't could not have had more students participate, but she's led these initiatives on her own and very attuned with the Indigenous culture. And so I like her. Anne Newman, I think, is an excellent choice. Anne is, she was, I believe, involved with the bicentenary. So she brings that lens of the past history that seems to continuously be forgotten with all the proposals we've seen on this project. And I think we need to have that voice. I think the history aspect of Mr. Durant is excellent. I think it's a great opportunity for him, being along with the Historical Society. And I have to share the sentiments of my colleagues, Tanya Grizzinski, the plethora, to use a more, a pithy term. She demonstrated that she is well-researched, well-knowledgeable, and I think she can really tease out some of the history that we need from a balanced perspective. And those were the candidates that I would like to support.
Great, thank you. So everyone here has already brought up some of the folks that I was most interested in. So I think if no one has anything further, we can move on to a vote. Oh, Councillor Kylie, go ahead.
I might, one of my other 6, as I'm calling them tonight, that wasn't mentioned by anyone that I think deserves a bit of airing is Anne Stevens. She was the public relations person for the Prince and Princess of Wales in 1991, which for those of us who have watched The Crown appreciate how tumultuous that would have been. And I think someone who knows how to handle complexity, and I don't like this word in the context of what we're talking about, but work towards a neutral perspective. Obviously, that's not what we're trying to do here tonight, but my point is, if they can be in a heated situation and try to find a way forward, which the PR person for the royal couple at that time would have absolutely had to do many times, I think that might actually be a valuable skill set. So I will actually put her name forward as my 3rd choice, if I could.
Thanks. And I think, Councillor Chappelle, you may have been referring to Anne Stevens when you said Anne Newman. Is that correct? Just your reference to her previous work seems familiar in the application. Is that who you were speaking? Were you speaking to the same applicant as Councillor Kylie?
Yes,
There is an Anne Newman, sorry, but there's also an Anne Stevens, but your description seems to fit with Councillor Kylie's. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, okay, good. Yes, my apologies. My handwriting is thank you very much, Councillor Kylie, for catching that, and that is excellent. That's Anne Stevens, correct.
Excellent, okay. All right, well, let's see how we go here. It does sound like it would be nice to have a lot more than what we have. Okay, Ms. Baines, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to confirm that there was a member of the public here, but the individual has since left. So there's nobody here that we need to ask for comments. If somebody else does join midway through the meeting, I will let you know that. But just to confirm that.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so I'm going to read the names, and so everyone just raise your hand when I get to a name, and remember you have 3 votes. Ms. James will be helping me keep track. Can you do that sort of exclusively? Because I got 2 things I got to do at once. That's great. Thank you. All right, everyone ready? So we'll start with number 1, Joseph Abro. Number 2, Norma Jean Barrett. Okay, so I should be reading out the numbers. So it was 0 for Joseph Abro, 0 for Norma Jean Barrett. Heather Castleton. Heather Castleton? 1. Vincent Durant. 1, 2, 3. Mary Ferrar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dean Fleet. 0. Harp Gruwal. 0. Tanya Grizzinski. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brian Lawrence Joyce. 0. Jason McEwen. 0. Elizabeth Nelson, 1. Ann Newman, 0. Jay Novak maybe, 0. Douglas Perkins, 1. Glenn Perry, 0. John Rose, 1. Josephina Smith, 0. Ann Stevens, 1, 2. Angela Stever, 0. John Seward, 0. Alan Tugwood, 0. And finally, Tamara Van Dijk, 1. Okay. So Madam Clerk, if you could let us know who, I know we have a couple who have 5, so we'll just continue on with everyone who doesn't have 0. If you could read out those names.
Okay, so I will read those out for you, and I am just going to grab myself a ruler so I don't lose track here. Heather Castleton, 1. Vincent Durant, 3. Mary Ferrar, 5. Tanya Grizzinski, 5. Elizabeth Nelson, 1. Douglas Perkins, 1. John Rose, 1. Ann Stevens, 2. And Tamara Van Dijk, 1.
Okay. Great. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to review their own lists accordingly, and we'll now go back to the committee to see if anyone would like to speak to the remaining members. The applicants, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 remaining, and you'll have 3 votes again because we're not confirming anyone at this point. Anyone want to discuss? Do we need the names again? Everybody okay? Seems like we've covered off most of who we spoke to in the initial round. Councilor Hutchison, go ahead.
Sorry. You can't.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you? Okay, good. Okay. The unmute didn't come up. So I didn't quite follow perhaps. Are we electing, have we elected the 2 people that got 5?
I've decided not to do that on the first round because I think we want to go more with a bit. Well, first of all, it's a tie because they both had 5. And I think secondly, there are enough votes to shift around here with 6 members of the committee that we might give that another go.
Fair enough. But that's what we're going to do from now on, I guess.
Yeah, that's the process. The process I had imagined. I mean, if someone had 6 and only 1 person had 6, then that would be easy. But 2 with 5, not straightforward. Councillor Stanek?
So through you, Madam Chair, I haven't been on this committee before, but I just need to understand the process. So we had 2 people with 5 and then 1 person with 3, and then everyone else remaining only has 2. So we're just doing another round in case one of us changes our mind. Like, I don't understand why we just don't go with like, we need 3 people. And so I think we just voted for our 3 people with the 2 people who got 5 votes. That's 2 people. And then the 3rd person is the one who got 3 since everyone else got 2. So we're just doing another round in case somebody wants to swap where their vote went.
Well, we have 5 applicants of the 9 that only got 1 vote the last round. So it doesn't take a lot of extra time just to go through. And so I think we're not going to do it all night long, of course, but I think if we go another time just to see if there's any shifting, then it's just we're making sure that we've given, with 6 votes, that we were giving everybody kind of an ability to move around a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you're new here. Go ahead.
I'm new. I've never been on this committee before. So we just dropped the people who only got 1 vote.
We only dropped the zeros this time because there were 22
Okay.
to start. We'll go through this next round and we'll likely get to a point where we have people, if people are, have ones that they may drop. Because
Got it.
we're starting to show more support for the top, the one
Okay.
at the top.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Just very quickly, I see the rationale for going through a second round with the 2 5s, but in future rounds, if somebody has 2 5s, I mean, that's clearly a majority of the committee. So I
Yeah,
think
that's a good point.
So.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that is a good point. I think with only 3, we want to just be careful not to fill them up just on the first vote.
Sure. Fair
So
enough.
given that
Yeah.
people are quite interested in a number of candidates, Councillor Chappelle?
Thank you, your chair, your Madam Chair. Just because we've had so much discussion just going on right now, just for clarity, can we just go through those members that received votes or those residents that have received votes just one more time so I'm crystal, please?
Sure, I'll go to Ms. Jane. So the ones that we're voting on this second round are the ones that got some votes, as few as one. Go ahead, Ms. Jane.
So
I'll read.
do we have the number and the name? That'd be helpful. Like the number,
Sure.
whatever name. I don't need the number and the name, and then I don't need the number of votes, just who they were.
Just who
Okay.
we're dealing with. Got it. Go ahead.
Candidate number, not number of votes. Okay. So we are looking at, for the next round, number 3, Heather Castleton. Number 4, Vincent Durant. Number 5, Mary Ferrar. Number 8, Tanya Grizzinski. Number 11, Elizabeth Nelson. Number 14, Douglas Perkins. Number 16, John Rose. Number 18, Ann Stevenson. And number 22, Tamara Van Dijk.
Great. So it's Dan Stevens. That's great. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone else want to speak to this group of candidates now before we go through with the votes? Okay. So we'll go to the next round. I'll use the corresponding number this time and call for the vote. So we have number 3, Heather Castleton. 1, 2. Number 4, Vincent Durant. 1, 2, 3. Number 5, Mary Ferrar. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wasn't that?
I'm sorry, could you count again? I thought I saw 5 hands.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's the person we're talking about is number 5, Mary Ferrar. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent, thank you. Then we have number 8, Tanya Grizzinski. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have number 11, Elizabeth Nelson. 0. Everyone knows they have 3 votes, right? Sorry, good. I should have mentioned at the beginning. Then we have number 14, Douglas Perkins. 0. And we have number 16, John Rose. 0. And then we have number 18, Ann Stevens. 1. And next is number 22, Tamara Van Dijk. 1. Great. Okay. So Ms. Janes, if you could read off the number of people with votes remaining, and we'll get to where we stand after that.
I can do that, Madam Chair. We have number 3 has Heather Castleton with 2 votes. Number 4, Vincent Durant with 3 votes. Number 5, Mary Ferrar with 5 votes. Number 8, Tanya Krazinski with 5 votes. Number 18, Ann Stevens with 1 vote. And number 22, Tamara Van Dijk with 1 vote.
Okay, so those who are dropping off at this point would be, sorry.
Would you like me to read that out, Madam Chair?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So this round coming off would be number 11, Elizabeth Nelson. And number 20, no, number 14, Douglas Perkins, and number 16, John Rose.
So can you let me know where are we with Vincent Durant?
Vincent Durant
3.
he received 3 votes, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, so Ms. Janes, correct me if I'm wrong, but we now have Tanya Grizzinski with 5, Mary Ferrar with 5, Vincent Durant with 3, Heather Castleton with 2, Ann Stevens with 1, and Tamara Van Dijk with 1.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. So I think now we still have 2 with 5. And we have 2 on the bottom with 1. I would suggest we drop the 2 on the bottom with 1 and then we revote. Councillor Chappelle?
Given that we did the one order with 5 before, and we didn't drop, I would say let's do one more vote because we've shrunk our list down. Some have come up, some have come down, and we'll see how we go from there. Just do one more round. It doesn't take any real extra time. For 3 votes each.
So then, though, for the bottom 2 that we have with 1 each, they're also a tie on the bottom. So are we keeping those on the list for now? Yeah, that's what we're saying. Okay. I get it. I mean, we'll see where we're at with the next change. I suspect we won't have any further ties. Anyone wish to speak at this point? Point of order, Councillor Kiley.
Is it in the bylaw that this committee has to meet for at least 6 hours?
Me? This will not go for 6 hours.
Oh, I thought that's what always happened. It's going so efficiently that I'm just not sure what's happening.
Oh no, we only have this one item of business. This will
I'm
not
just being foolish.
yeah, okay. So I think just given that we have ties and we do have a process for ties, but we're also demonstrating interest in, we're all saying we have interest in a number of candidates. So it would be nice to be able to play this out a bit longer if everyone is okay with that. So seeing no one wishing to speak to any further, any further on the list of candidates, does anyone need them read out again? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 remaining, and we're looking at 3. We still haven't selected anyone. So we'll have 3 votes. Does anyone need that list read out, or do you have your notes? Okay, great. So we'll go through another vote. Okay, so we'll begin with number 3, Heather Castleton. 1, 2, 3 votes. Next we have Vincent Durant, who is number 4. And we've got 1, 2 votes. Number 5 is Mary Ferrar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 votes. Okay. Number 8, Tanya Grizzinski. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes. Number 18, Ann Stevens. 1 vote, 2 votes. Sorry, can I see that again? Councillor Kylie, was that for you? Yeah, 2 votes. Great. And then finally, number 22, Tamara Van Dijk. And that is 0 votes. Okay. Ms. James, if you could please let us know where we're at now. Actually, if you could begin by just telling us who received none, and we'll cross those off.
Okay, Tamara Van Dijk received none. And she is the only candidate from the last round who did not receive any votes. Tamara Van Dijk received none.
Okay. So then, could you read the rest?
I certainly can. Number 3, Heather Castleton, there were 3 votes. Number 4, Vincent Durant, 2 votes. Number 5, Mary Ferrar, 6 votes. Number 8, Tanya Grizzinski, 5 votes. And number 18, Ann Stevenson, 2 votes.
Okay, 2. So I think we can all agree that we can confirm at this point Mary Ferrar has 6 votes that last time. Okay, seeing some nods, that's great. So we'll also take her off the list and everyone will now have 2 votes. And I'll read the lists of those who remain. We have Tanya Grizzinski, Heather Castleton, Vincent Durant, and Ann Stevens. So that's 4 applicants. We each have 2 votes. Anyone wish to speak to the applicants for this round? Okay. So we'll go through the list again, starting with number 3, Heather Castleton. 3 votes. Number 4, Vincent Durant. 1, 2, 3 votes. Number 8, Tanya Godzinski. 1, 2, 3 votes. Number
18.
Ann Stevens. 1, 2, 3 votes. We got some ties happening now. All right, so those were our 4 remaining applicants. So Ms. James, if you could let us know where we're at now.
Well, I'm so sorry. I was talking again while I was unmuted. And I was not looking at my screen. So if you were all trying to flag me down, I apologize. I didn't notice. There were 4 candidates. Number 3, Heather Castleton. She had 3 votes. Number 4, Vincent Durant, 3 votes. Number 8, Tanya Grizzinski, 3 votes. And number 18, Ann Stevenson, 3 votes.
So they all had 3. Okay. This was not something I ever prepared for. We have 4 candidates. We have 2 votes each, and we need to break a tie. Councillor Neal?
Yes. Perhaps those of us that wish to kind of endorse a particular candidate, now might be a good time to do that. And I just want to remind people that Tanya Godzinski had 5 votes in the first round. And in the second round, she dropped to 3, and I'm not sure why. But she clearly had the most impressive application of all of the applicants. And it would be a shame if we somehow lost her on this, in this process. That would be a process error, I believe. So.
Thanks, Councillor Neal. Councillor Carley?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Through you, if I could underscore that, I went back in my notes and double checked my initial comments about Miss Grizzinski, and I was right. She was the one who said that she loves historiography, and I think that we need that voice at the table here, seeing how we've talked about history in the past, how we're doing it in the present, and where it might be going. I think is imperative. So please, let's all get behind her.
Okay. Councillor Hutchison?
I think that there's a need for study of histography and some expertise in Indigenous studies, the settler studies. And so I think someone with that kind of historical background is necessary, but I haven't voted for Ms. Grozinski because I think Ms. Castleton brings more to the table in terms of Indigenous studies. And I think it's a good bridge between those who don't have that background and the community members that come from Indigenous communities. That's the way I'm thinking about it. So I believe in this vote, we have, we still only elected one or appointed one. And so we have 2 votes, correct?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Councillor Chappelle?
I do believe, okay, good, thank you. Through you, Madam Chairperson, this is the complexity we end up going through this process. It's not a fun process to be whittling down qualified and wonderful people who put their name forward, and it's a difficult situation. I do believe that Ann Stevens is a really, really impressive individual. I think would bring, and she's already very familiar with the subject matter for her previous involvement. And I do agree with Councillor Kiley's astute assessment of the type of work she did for Queen Anne. And I would really like to see her put forward. So hopefully someone would find it in their heart to move a vote that way. That'd be great.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? It's interesting. I guess what I'll say then as chair, given the we do have such qualified candidates and 2 with academic backgrounds and which are both very relevant. So it's making it that's making it really hard. Given that we've selected Mary Ferrar as a community, as a person who we've spoken to her experience in the community, having those 2 candidates with 2 academic candidates with different, one sort of overlapping with the Indigenous community and Indigenous studies, and one more with a grounding in Kingston and Canadian history, War of 1812, all of the events leading up to Confederation. Yeah, I'm still torn, but I think I'm leaning in the direction of those 2 very qualified individuals with the academic expertise. It's a real honor to know that they've demonstrated this interest, but again, with everyone else who's shown their interest, it is not an easy decision. So I think we'll see how we go here. Does anyone else have anything else to add at the moment? Okay. All right, so we'll return to the vote. I'm just going to go with names. I don't have all the numbers before me. We only have 4, but we each have 2 votes. Okay, Tanya Grizzinski. 1, 2, 3. Heather Castleton. Oh, point of order. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I think Councillor Neal, his hand came up a bit delayed and maybe wasn't counted.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah. Okay, so is that 4 votes for Ms. Grizzinski? Councillor Neal, I'll call the vote again. Tanya Godzinski. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Heather Castleton. 1, 2, 3. Ann Stevens. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we have one more who's been appointed. We have Tanya Grizzinski with 4 votes. Sorry, did Councillor Hutchison? Go ahead.
Sorry, but I didn't hear you call out Vincent Durant.
I didn't. You're right. I didn't. Okay. We're going to do the whole thing over again. Tanya Grizzinski. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heather Castleton. 1, 2, 3. Vincent Durant. Sorry, Councillor Chappelle, go ahead. You're on mute.
I don't think that's appropriate because what you've done now is you shifted a vote in between the last vote because so all we had to do was vote on Vincent. I still had one vote left. So I don't think we could shift it now.
No, I'm just making sure the record is clear because I'm not asking anyone to shift. I'm just, because I didn't go through the full list the first time around, I was trying to, believe me, if the votes had shifted, we would make note of that and make sure that everybody was back to their original vote. Okay, so we're at Vincent Durant. Okay, all those in favor? 1, 2. And then Ann Stevens. 1, 2, 2, 3. So we have 3. Okay, so Ms. James, if you could read us where we're at.
Okay, candidate number 3, Heather Castleton. And she had 3 votes. Candidate 4, Vincent Durant, 2 votes. Candidate 8, Tanya Grizzinski with 4 votes. And candidate 18, Ann Stevens with 3 votes.
Okay. All right. So we now have, so then we will move Tanya Godzinski into the second slot, 4 votes.
Yeah.
Good with that. She had the most votes that time. That's great. So we have 3 remaining candidates and we each have 1 vote. And the candidates are Heather Castleton, Vincent Durant, and Ann Stevens. Everybody okay? Okay, great. Let's see how we go this time. All right, so Heather Castleton. 1. Vincent Durant. 0. Ann Stevens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Councilor Chappelle, is that your hand? 1.
Sorry, it's the
Yep, so that's 5. Great. Okay, so our final representative will be Ann Stevens. Okay. Madam
Chair, I just
go ahead, Ms. James.
yeah. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to read out the 3 candidates that have been recommended for appointment, which is Mary Ferrar, Tanya Grizzinski, and Ann Stevenson, and request that a motion be provided to confirm those candidates. We need a sort of a holistic motion to confirm the 3.
Great. Okay.
So
Thank you.
Councillor Neal, thank you very much. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Osanek. Great. And then any discussion, questions? Where we're at? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thanks everybody for that. I know that was challenging, and again, our thanks to everyone who submitted an application. We've had a lot to consider, and we have a lot of talent and a lot of people who've made a contribution. And I guess just to make note again of Ms. Campbell's earlier discussion regarding the working group, for members of the public who are interested, please take note and stay informed about when the meetings are coming through the website. And if you'd like to attend online, we would love to have you remain involved in the process. Okay, so that is our main business item, though we do still have affirmation. So business item B, affirmation of local Indigenous community members' appointments to the Sir John A. Mcdonald History and Legacy in Kingston Working Group. So the 3 appointments that we discussed earlier in the briefing. Ms. James, did you want to read those and we'll have a motion?
Yes, I will do that. Let me just flip to the correspondence piece in my agenda. The 3 Indigenous community members selected for the Sir John A. History and Legacy Working Group are Laurel Claus Johnson, Candace Lloyd, and Dion Nolan.
Great. Thank you. All right, so can I have a motion to affirm those? Do we need, sorry, first of all, do we need to separate items B and C and have?
No, you don't. Yeah, they're an affirmation, so you can do one motion for items B and C.
Okay, and so then item C is affirmation of a member from Alderville First.
Sorry, Madam Chair,
And
and I guess, and D on from the addendum, so
Exactly.
there can be an overarching motion to affirm all of the appointments.
Okay, and so can I please have you read the names for our member from Alderville?
Certainly.
And
The member from Alderville First Nation is Chief Dave Mowat, and the member from the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte is Chief R. Donald Miracle.
Great. Okay, so can I have a motion to affirm those appointments? Moved by Councillor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Sanek. Thank you. Great. Any questions or discussion? Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you. So we have no notices of motion. We have no other business. The correspondence that was in your package was regarding the Indigenous members to be affirmed this evening. So hopefully you've had a chance to get a little more background there. And we don't have a date for our next meeting yet. And is that a motion to adjourn, Councillor Schwab? No, okay, go ahead.
No, at our last council meeting last evening, we had a resignation from someone from the Heritage Committee. On that same evening, we had accolades to a member of the community that's been recently appointed to Ontario Heritage Trust. So I'd like to suggest that we should probably serve notice that we're going to fill that position on the Heritage Committee. Maybe we should reflect on the applications that came forward before and, call another meeting expeditiously for the one candidate to replace. But unless if it's not out of order, I would recommend maybe we would put forward a motion to appoint Arthur Mills to that position. Since he's already been recognized by the province, he's certainly qualified to serve on the Heritage Committee from the city's perspective.
I will say that it is out of order, and Ms. Janes has something to add there, given there will be more upcoming appointments. So go ahead, Ms. Janes.
Yes, I just wanted to just respond to that. There is a process set out for recruitment in the committee bylaw, and part of our practice in that procedure is to reach out to all candidates who have applied to a committee within the previous 12 months. So when it comes time to recruit for that position on Heritage Kingston, I can assure you that the candidate you mentioned, as well as any other candidates who had applied to committees, would be contacted to confirm their continued desire to be put forward for consideration. We will also do a public reach out as well. And it typically has not been our practice to do isolated recruitments to fill solitary seats, solitary vacancies on committees, provided that the committees continue to function with one vacancy. If there was a number of vacancies, then we would do a sort of a sole single source, if you want to call it, appointments for a select committee. There are oftentimes committees that have vacancies throughout the year, and as long as the committees continue to function well with the membership that we have, it's been our practice to wait until we need to fill a number of positions so that we can go out and recruit for those, vacancies on, maybe a number of committees, so that when the nominations committee meets, it's to fill more than one appointment. And
well,
so
the
the chair of Heritage Kingston is aware of the resignation, and we have discussed that with him at this time, and he's aware that if there's a problem with the ability to make quorum, or they don't feel that they have the right membership at this time, we could go out and do a single recruitment, but there is also a vacancy on the Taxi Commission at this point, and there may be other recruitments that come up. So we just sort of monitor that situation to make sure that we're doing it as effectively as possible, so that if the committees are running effectively with the existing membership despite the vacancy, then we will sort of hold those in abeyance so that we can go out and do a fulsome recruitment to make appointments to a variety of vacancies.
I'm also certain that the chair can call a meeting at her pleasure as well. And that we are at the beginning of a new year, and I would encourage our committee to fill the vacancies that are in existence currently. And I think there were a few more right at the beginning of the year that have fallen off. So I think it would be prudent for us to try to fill those with communities. And there's even an opportunity for some of these people that applied tonight to sit on those opportunities as well. And I think we should do so rather than leaving the vacancies up to the other committees.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is an opportunity to call another meeting, though we do have to make sure that we have a recruitment process, as Ms. Janes mentioned, and it does take a bit of time to ensure proper notice, et cetera. So we don't have a date for the next meeting, but you will know about that as soon as possible. And I know that there are, we'll be in touch, essentially. I will be on top of it. Thank you. Okay, anything else before we adjourn? Councillor Neal.
Yes, I hate to add to Deputy Clerk Jane's workload, and I seem to do that a lot, and I apologize. But is it possible for us, there were so many really, really good candidates in this process, is it possible to send them an email just to say, would they like to be informed of future meetings of this working group? Because I presume this working group be live streamed and YouTube? And you wouldn't have to do it every time, but if half a dozen of them say, yeah, they have a continued interest, would be great to have their input in the process. Is that possible?
Ms. Janes, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, it is possible. We will notify all unsuccessful candidates, thank them for their application, and we can, as part of that communication, advise them of upcoming meetings. Through that all meetings will be posted, as Ms. Campbell said in her briefing earlier tonight. All of the meetings will be posted on the City of Kingston website. They will be live streamed. They will be open for public participation. We can also endeavor to include this in the regular communications that the clerk's office puts out through communications. You may notice tweets that come out every week that sort of say, no Kingston, and it will indicate what meetings are coming up in any given week. And we can work to include this working group in those communications.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
For members of the committee and for council as well, I'm sure there'll be a fair bit of interest. Go ahead, Councillor Kylie.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I thought tonight went really well. It was very smooth. And I'm wondering, related to that, when do we have meetings about these meetings? I think that we had passed resolution at council to review our process here and to formalize some of the structure to make things go as well as they did tonight. I'm wondering if you know anything about that. Sorry to put you on the spot, but it hasn't come up for a few weeks.
Just handing it over to Ms. Janes. Go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair. So the short answer to that is I don't have a timeline for you at this point. We are undertaking research based on the two motions that were at council in December, and we will be reaching out to committees in that regard, but I don't have any specific dates.
That's fine. Okay, but it is in the works.
We haven't forgotten about you.
Good. Thanks.
Great. And also, yeah, thanks to the committee tonight and to folks who've tuned in at home. I think that's an important thing. I was speaking earlier to Ms. Janes about the fact that these meetings used to happen. Members of the public were welcome, but we didn't often have a lot of attendance in the meetings, and we're seeing a lot more interest and engagement now. So I think the new processes will hopefully reflect that, the reality of being able to broadcast these meetings for people who are interested in and who have maybe put their names forward. So thanks to everyone who's tuned in and to staff.
Well chaired, Madam Chair.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Okay, so I have my mentor right here, Councillor Hutchison. Okay, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Chappelle, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Stanek. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. See you soon.